Local by Designs, Rethinking African Consumer Insights for Modern Brands. And the amazing personalities doing justice to this topic are number one, the Marketing Director, Central, East, and West African. Beardsdorf, you know other person than Fiyin Toyo. Please put your hands together for Fiyin Toyo. Also, we have the Chief Executive Officer, Brand Management Academy and Blame, Dr. Abiodun Ajiborode. Put your hands together for Dr. Abiodun Ajiborode. Yes, I am. Also, we have Foods Demands Creation Leads at Unilever Nigeria within Limited, East and West Africa, Damilola Daniel. Please put your hands together for Damilola Daniel. And also, we have the brand manager of Indomie, Tope Sule. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. And also, Chief Executive Officer, Candleweb AI, David Mogaji. Put your hands together. And we also have the head of marketing, PZ Kusons, Martha Kayode. Put your hands up for Martha, ladies and gentlemen. To the other side. And lastly, our moderator for that session is the Chief Executive Officer of Finite, Mogaji Junaid. Put your hands together for Mogaji, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Okay. So brand is here. Fantastic panelists are here. But I want to start with a story. I always say something around that. Most especially for global brands that they don't exist in Nigeria, but they decided to come into Nigeria. I always make a joke that any global brand that decides to play the game in Nigeria, they will learn on my kobo. Because you can imagine a global brand, I won't mention name, how recently I just realized that a global brand is selling small chops. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Okay, so let's leave it there. So, that's not part of the recipe on a global level. But they came to Nigeria, they realized that if we keep going this way and we don't try to understand that the Nigerian market, small chop is selling, there will be problem for their data, for bottom line. So for me, starting this particular session, I'm going to just quickly go to the questions. So starting with Tope. What? We are talking about can you guys hear me? We are talking about AI, right? Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me? Okay. So I did something before, and I said that I went to ChatGPT. I said that I am hungry. I don't want to stress myself. Just give me a recipe to quickly put Indomie together. Guess what the AI said? Let me just put it there. And it says that, okay, yeah. It says that you just need 2 packs of Indomie, 2 eggs. Can you hear me? Give me 2 packs of Indomie, 2 eggs, onions, sausage, butter, black pepper. AI doesn't know that Nigeria there is sapa. And what did he call this particular recipe? He called it Ultimate Comfort Bowl. Right? You can imagine just a few years ago, an agency would charge a ham and a leg to response, right? In terms of even what for the right now. This thing is failing a bit. Is it network? Let's enjoy our time, please. Technical. Yeah. All right. So my first question to you is that in a day, in this time and age that we are in, where everything is out there, your brand has been there over 20 years. I remember the story of Indomie coming to this country with a container just to test the market. And right now, everybody probably has tasted the noodle called Indomie. What would you say that has kept this brand alive till now? Let me start on the soft note like that. Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for the question. So for us at Indomie, we've actually been in the business in Nigeria for over 30 years. What has kept us leaders that we are today, and even continue to keep us leaders, is that we understand the human truth. So times will change, trends will come and go, but there's always the human truth. And just as you mentioned here, when you prompted the AI platform as to you needed a quick meal, for instance, the name it gave to you at the end of it was, this is your ultimate comfort meal. So we have been able to own that space as being a comfort meal for people, and that is what we have been able to hold for decades, for instance. Here, and this has helped us to also ensure that we are playing into the emotional part of people in terms of when they need quick meals like that. So those are the ways that we have been able to maintain our leadership.
Fantastic, fantastic. Just understanding the human truth that a Nigerian needs a comfort meal after the shege they've seen outside there. So to our scholar in the mix, right? Fantastic panel put together, right? So for you, I'm trying to wet the ground. So don't worry, we're getting there. So for Dr. Biodun, I want to ask you that in building brands, for me, learning marketing, I learned that it's just the basic four P's. Once you understand the four P's: product, place, promotion, and price, right? What are the key things for brands that want to build for the long haul? What are the key things should they consider in that four P's? In knowing fully whether if you don't understand those four P's, you will succeed and succeed for the long time. Yes.
Okay, thanks for that question. And I think the fundamental thing is the 4P remains very integral within the marketing ecosystem, but a lot of things have evolved from how the 4Ps are being deployed. For instance, in those days, we understand when we used to do consumer analysis, the focus was mainly on demographic. Then when you're trying to understand consumer, try to understand what they buy, what they don't buy. You consider demographic. But today we know that demographic is significantly misleading, because that chain, that ladder between one cadre of the socioeconomics that's actually broken. So you need to then begin to move more into ethnographic, begin to understand the lifestyle, begin to understand the motivations and everything that are literally not add. And these are the things that has changed. The fundamental remain the same, but the application of those fundamentals has changed over the years, and it will keep changing.
Awesome, awesome. The fundamentals remain the same. Things will keep coming up, and we have to adapt. So let me quickly go to Fiyin. I mean, you're a fantastic marketer, right? You've been around for some time now, and you sell something that kills body odor, right? Don't mind me, yeah. But I'm just trying to make this as easy as possible. So I also went to ChatGPT, and what did I ask ChatGPT this time around was basically, I have a colleague that has body odor, and I don't know how to tell her. Kindly help. And what was the response? It says the good approach is to tell her privately, never in front of others. In summary, it gave me exact thing to say, right? Hey, I don't want to mention anybody's name. Can I mention something a little awkward? I wasn't sure whether to say anything, but I thought I would want someone to tell me. I have noticed a body odor recently, and I just wanted to mention it privately, in case you weren't aware. Fantastic response, right? Very, respectful, but deliver the message, right? So for you, bringing into, I mean, for those that don't know, she's the head of marketing East, West, and Central Africa for BSDOF, and they sell Nivea. I mean, almost everybody has used one of their products before. So for someone like you that do work on a global brand, what are the key things you consider when you want to apply global strategy in Africa, as it were? What are the key things you look out for? Yes.
Thank you so much. Brilliant question. And good afternoon, everybody. Glad to be here. Wow. So I think that for a lot of us that work at multinationals, that's a question that we have to factor in every single day. It's our daily battle because people create strategies from Germany, the US, England, Ireland, and then expect you to just execute in Africa. But we know that there's nothing like Africa. Africa is multiple countries in one. And so for us at Barisoff, and even for me as an individual that has worked across different countries in Africa, one thing that I always look at is the fact that my consumers are very different. And I'm just going to give you some practical examples, small little things. we know we need to save money, right? You for a lot of multinationals, you cannot shoot, for example, one TV commercial for Nigeria, one for Ghana, Kenya, unless you have very deep pockets. So a lot of the time, I've had to shoot one commercial for Africa. So little things that can be done is sitting and getting different marketing managers from the different markets to actually agree on one talent. You know, some people are ethnically ambiguous. If you see this person, you can say, "Ah, this person can be Nigerian, Ghanaian, Kenyan, all in one,
Yeah.
and South African." So that's one thing to always look at. The second thing is we always want to make sure that the local context is part of it. When you're talking about body odor, do you know that in Nigeria, the penetration for deodorant is less than 30%?
Wow.
But if you go to countries like South Africa, it's over 90%. So in South Africa, you cannot educate people about why to use deodorant. That's not what they need. What you need to tell them is, oh, this one is this fragrance, this one has maximum protection. That's where they are. But in Nigeria, for example, we are at the level of creating the category, which is telling people why they need deodorant. It's not the same thing in Germany or in the US where they're also developed. So it's also, as a brand person, being able to speak to your regional and your global team to let them understand the stage that you are in the category. Because if I take their TVC and try to use it in Nigeria, it will not work because they are on superiority. I'm not there. I'm building foundation. So those are just some of the things. I don't want to take too much time because I
Yeah.
can see the clock counting
All
down.
right, all right. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. So all right, I'm going to Damilola now, right? So I think that one of the things that I took out from the last session was I think was that Adebola Williams saying the fact that in the north, people get to probably put about 10 cubes of condiments in soup as against in the south. You know, for somebody like you work at Unilever right now, the food lead of Unilever. How do your team, understand that market in such a way that no, the North Cube has stayed a long time. I mean, for me, I still wonder how this particular just cubes is one of the biggest markets for you guys. How has it stayed that long that it's still relevant to today? What are the things you guys have put in place such that people keep using, even though, I mean, to an extent, people are now more conscious of health, but I'm not sure if that is the case for somebody like you working at the back end, because the market is still big anyways. So what are the things you have put in place to ensure that not keeps leading the market?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's exciting to be here. I think just like Fiyin said, the dynamics of marketing, as much as they remain the same, the fundamentals as you apply them are different. She said something very striking. Penetration for deals is under 30%. For seasoning cubes is 100%.
Yes.
In every home in the country, there is a seasoning cube. So you have a harder job of saying that what you have is different. So how do you keep your brand alive? I think the first fundamental is that you have a good product. I think as more time that I spend in marketing, I see how you
Right.
cannot separate sales and distribution from marketing. Whatever AI says, if your product is not present, then you lose the chance to even perform. So one, you must have a product that is good. Everything else comes after that, especially when people depend on it to deliver an experience. When you have a product that delivers an experience, then you have a product of putting it in the right place. Secondly, at that point, does your marketing become relevant? You cannot sell to a non existent consumer. And how have we been able to keep the product alive for so long? It's to ensure that as long as you know your brand has an identity and it stands for something, you are reacting to the reality of the consumer that you serve. And you can only react to that consumer's needs by listening to the consumer. One of the best lessons that I've learned in Unilever is to get out of the office, because your reality as the person who designs the brand is very different from the reality of the person who is consuming. So the way we stay alive is by listening
Right.
and taking the reality check of who you're serving. I think the other thing is also picking your battles and prioritizing. There is so much to do. There's so many exciting things happening at the same time. If you do not learn to prioritize as a marketing person, you're going to do a lot of tiny great things instead of one big impactful things that is important for the consumer. So has not stayed alive. Great product, being present,
Right.
and then marketing to support marketing that is true to your consumer.
Fantastic. Thank you, Damilola. I mean, I'm really, really learning. Hope you guys are enjoying the session. So, I mean, she just said something that the cube seasoning market is 100% penetration in Nigeria. Fantastic. As against 30% that we have there. That means there's still markets ready for Fiyin, right? So I'm moving to the AI business now, right? So going to David, right, of Candleweb AI. So my first question to you will be that AI has dramatically expanded the ability of brands to collect and interpret consumer data. From your own perspective, what are the biggest opportunities that AI will create for our understanding as African consumers, not global consumers, African consumers? So, what are those opportunities that you have seen as the one that is leading the charge in AI in your company?
Thank you so much for that question, and hello everyone. I think one of the greatest impacts would be being able to process unstructured data, right? So if you're into data, there are about three categories. You have semi-structured, you have the structured, and you have the unstructured data. For a very long time, processing structured data is very easy. I mean, a lot of surveys use that with true forms. But when I'm talking about unstructured data, I'm talking about the kind of data you get from, let's say, comments on TikTok that are in pidgin English, right? WhatsApp voice notes, Naira land trends, right? These are things that a lot of brands have found it very, very difficult to process over time.
Right.
But with the advent of LLM, that's with generative AI now, it's very, very easy to process these things because they can reason, they can understand language, right? Although there's still a little bit of caveat in it because of the fact that they still need like the indigenous context to that, right? But then you can still process a lot of this information and really understand what your customers are truly saying about your brand and how they feel. Because I think a lot of times customers are not very sincere when it comes to regular surveys, right? They just tell you what they want to tell you. But if they go on TikTok, they would say a lot of things that they wouldn't say in your form, right? And for you to be able to process that information and understand it and use it effectively, right? It's something that is very, very crucial for you as a brand, right? And then I think the other impact I am seeing is synthesis at the speed of decision, right? So let's say, for example, a manager at PZ Cousins needs, yeah, needs, let's say, information about, let's say, why a particular product performed well in Enugu, but it flopped in Lagos. Now, such kind of information is not something you need to wait for 4 weeks for your data analyst to process the information and give you. It's something you need like very quick. Right now, with the use of LLMs, all you just have to do is just provide it with your data warehouse and point it to the right direction. It will process all of this information and provide you with a concrete report on that. So I think this is the biggest impact I've seen. so far.
Fantastic. Maybe we can also use that for the election next year, right? All right. Okay, you want to say something?
So, what you said about how Nigerians like the surveys don't work is something I can so relate with. The optimism of Nigerians when they feel a survey. I have never done an innovation where the numbers were not 85, 90%. And I remember talking to colleagues who work in other markets when maybe this survey is led by somebody who is sitting in Rotterdam or sitting in London, like great product, 98% conversion, 75. I'm like, there is no one more optimistic than the Nigerian. So that is so true for me that to the point where when I do surveys for anything, I first you slash the number by 50%. And I don't know if it's our people pleasing issue, but I've never seen a failed survey before, so I can relate so strongly with that. Just
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's another insight that you should take away with. Most surveys, when you get the response, just slash it by 50%. So you are not running into into the forest that you don't even know where you're going to. So for Mata, I mean, you're in the FMCG segment, you work off PZ Cousins, right? And for us, like what they just said now, you extract this data, you use it for the consumer's consumption, right? We still, I mean, one of the key things that has been said in today's in this room is the fact that when I see an AI conversation or communication, whatever it is, I most likely would know. Might not be fully 100%, but most likely there's this disconnect that happens, right? So for you as a marketer, first of all, I mean, I'm sure that you use AI, right? Even for creating your campaigns and everything. So what would you say is the big problem here in the room where we can't optimize AI usage, whereby the consumer still feels like something is missing in the mix? What are we not getting right in the mix?
Okay. So I'll speak to relatability. And that is the consumer being able to see themselves in how you're communicating. I'll speak to it also from because you mentioned we have different data points we have gathered. And the thing with data and the thing with how you use it is it's about not just the quantity of the data points you have, the quality, and then how do you use it. So as brand owners, we have a lot of data points from, we know our consumers by, I don't know, once a month, depending on your brand, or twice a year, whatever. We even know their passion points, sports, music, fashion. But do we know their motivations? Do we know the tensions that drive them? And these are the things that make the things you churn out very relatable, such that the consumer sees themselves in them. And if your competitor becomes more affordable or even more distributed than you are they still going to look for you? Have you built the necessary relationships with them? How do you use the right information, knowing what they want, knowing what they need, and using those tensions to craft the right kind of communication that connects with them? That is the magic you need to happen. That needs to happen.
All right, thank you so much. Like you said, relatability is very key. We need to understand motivations. What the things that AI will not tell you is what happened. For instance, me coming this morning and I gave my driver to buy something and he decided to buy what is on his mind that he thinks that Oga would like, because maybe he just think that Oga is in a particular set of people. But I wanted that local thing. That was what was on my mind, but it just feels like Oga would like this thing. So those are the things that informs our decision. Sometimes we need to understand the motivation behind every purchase. So to Doctor in the room, I wanted to check in with you in terms of in using AI. I mean, you've driven a lot of consumer insights kind of campaigns in this country before that I'm aware of. With the advent of AI right now, I mean, one of the business you worked on has even given us a full commercial that is AI driven all through, right? So how would you say that? I mean, AI is teaching everyone, right? How would you remove that in the classroom? Because I'm even wondering how people in their institution right now survive, because most likely they have an assignment, they are downloading AI back to the lecturer. How would you remove that in the classroom, whereby people can actually still do human connected kind of campaigns and still be supported with AI eventually to amplify?
Okay, thanks for that question. So let me say, with the unveiling of things, you can't remove it. Let me put it straight. So I think the last quarter of one of my programs they presented, I think it's about 3-4 weeks ago, and I think up to 80-90% of the entire presentation were AI generated. But the question then becomes, when you say, I want to do this category, take for instance, I want to do a product that has a freshness day of probably 10 days, maybe a yogurt. And then AI throws to you that your distribution, your route to market, part of your route to market will be Amazon, for the sake of argument. So, and somebody drop Amazon as part of the distribution channel, and you begin to wonder, 10 days freshness cycle, and then you want to use Amazon, and a consumer will order online. Because this is where the relatability start coming into bear. The truth is that AI is an enabler, but the question is that what is AI enabling? It has to be enabling what is in your brain first. It has to be enabling the experience that you have. It has to enabling the understanding of the context, the cultural nuances, the ritual of a consumer. And these are all functions of the foundation that you understand. Let me say this before I just drop on this. I'm rolling out a book, and in that book, one of the things I've chattered. Let me put, not trying to chatter, is that in those days, some of the things that we learn is that we marketer we build brand love, and this is always is one index: build brand love, build brand love. And in my research, I realized that brand love is not the final, because people are in love today, they are not in love tomorrow.
Right.
So there are a lot of things in that context. Somebody I love today, I don't love the person tomorrow. And what I've seen great brand does is they build beyond brand love and they build reference. Reference is when somebody, whether you are happy with the person or you're not happy with the person, the bond is still there. Because the bond is formed from respect, is formed from something that is beyond emotion. And that is where I begin to see the human intervention in the usage of AI, how you begin to think through your consumer ecosystem, and then that helps you in actually leveraging AI to bring superior work outside.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I mean, brand love is almost going to be queried now, because I remember brand love curve. Anybody that is familiar with that particular schematics? Well, in terms of growing ahead to build reverence, right? That's what you said. So I'm going to talk by now, right? I believe that one of your campaign is even show love. You show some love, right? Yeah, and you've been building the brand love over time, and we all know that Indomie has that visibility in the market. But beyond visibility, how is the brand, moving ahead to build a form of relationship or relatability, like they said, to continue that, to be that reverend noodle brand in Nigeria and even beyond the shores of Nigeria? How have you been doing that?
Okay. Thank you for the question.
Yes.
So I would say for us at Indomie, and even personally, brand loyalty has moved beyond just habits, beyond consumer habits. They've moved into relevance, how relevant your brand activity is to the consumer. And I would say Indomie is a very strong brand, yes, but we're also a very, very local brand. So we operate in Nigeria across different regions. Yeah.
Yes.
So we do not see a southwest same way we see a south-south
Yes.
or an east, for instance. So we treat different regions as different specific markets. Yeah. And we also understand that you need to do tacticals. So in marketing, there are activities at our level that we need to constantly do to help us to continue to be in the faces of consumers. But in order for us to build brand love, there are some emotional moments in consumers' lives that we need to play into. So you could see our thematic campaign, like the Show Some Love campaign, as you mentioned. Those are beyond functionality. Indomie has gotten to a point where we need to build beyond just being a functional product, which is also us understanding our brand journey, where we are in the consumers' lives. You see, for instance, I'll make reference to the Mother's Day campaign that we recently ran, where we enabled creation of personalized praise poetry in different local languages. So it was also AI powered. But I would also like to add that most of the time when we get questions on AI doing this campaign for us, people always assume that it was AI that was singing the praise poetry. AI has not gotten to that point yet. Yeah, in terms of local language, we tried it. We tried to see if it would come out and people would get that emotional connection. So in Yoruba, what we say oriki. There are some ways that the orikis will come to you. You'll see mothers crying. It's very personal and it's very emotional. Yeah. So those kind of moments, when we want to play in those kind of moments, we don't just play in ways that are very performative for the sake of it. We try to go skin deep into the consumers. And in that campaign, for instance, how we used AI was, before we did the campaign, we carried out a small survey to see what are the different emotional attributes that people have of their moms. People said love, people said sacrifice. Then we created an audio bank of over close to 1,000 different praise poetries. How AI came to the play was, we asked people to just fill in one memory about their moms. So the AI platform picked some of those emotional sentiments and attributed them to any of the best suited audio platform that we did. Yeah. That way, it was very relevant to consumers. That way, we even had moms crying, even in real videos.
Right.
Yeah. And we don't just do campaigns for the sake of it. We're now at a stage where we're building for long term. We know that for us to be able to get brand love from consumers, we need to stay relevant. We need to appeal to their emotions. We need to ensure that we're always in their faces. So one thing is, we always say Indomie is a legacy brand, but you would expect that when you hear of a legacy brand, you think of those brands that seem archaic. But you see that where we are and the kind of activities we do, we compete with even the brands that are very modern. So that's how we're still beginning to, that's how we're continuing to build that strong brand love with consumers. And that's why we're still getting results in what we're doing.
Fantastic submission. Thank you very much for that. I mean, I like the fact that you are giving us the real examples. So I want to quickly move down to Fiyin. Is that okay? Please. I mean, Fiyin, you run a global brand too. And I like the fact that you had mentioned cultural nuances, right? So for you, I wanted to check with you again to say, how can, I mean, somebody like you as a brand owner, ensure that data-driven decision making does not strip away cultural nuances, emotional context, and human realities that shape the African consumer behavior.
I think that question is actually at the heart of this conversation.
Absolutely.
Yes. And it goes back to what was said on the first panel about the role of AI. I think we all need to be clear, especially as students. I like the question you asked Dr. Abiodun around people doing their projects. As students as well, we all need to be clear that AI is an enabler of the content that is in your brain. Yes. Has anybody briefed AI to create strategy for you? How did it go?
Plenty.
Nothing. Yes, you won't get the real depth of things. So, for me as a professional and as a student, because I'm also a student, we're lifelong students, we're
Absolutely.
always learning. And as a business, what we know is that AI is there to help us with our operations. So, like what Tope said, you have so many data points rather than going through it manually. If you have the right AI that obviously has data protection, because we have proprietary AI within our business, then it can help you sort through the data, find the trends. Let me give you an example. AI can tell you, I work in skincare as well. AI can tell you that, oh, all the consumers in Nigeria, Kenya are searching for anti-spot treatment. But we don't know why. Many of us, you guys are, a lot of us are students here, right? There was a product, a drug that was trending many years ago. It's a drug for something else, heartburn. But it was trending in university cities because university students were using it as contraception. So if AI tells you that this drug is trending in universities, you might go and do your advertising to talk about heartburn to university students, but you don't know why they're using it. We've also heard how people have been using painkillers, bad example, but to soften their beef and meat. So AI can give you the data and then you go crazy.
That one is new.
Yes, to increase your marketing spend, but you don't know what is actually driving it. And so that's why we as marketers can look at the trends, look at the data, but we need to, nothing can replace sitting down with consumers, seeing how they use the product, understanding why. Like Martha said, what is the motivation behind it? What is the tension point? And that's the difference. Let's not be lazy. AI is not here to replace your brain. It's just here to help you to
Absolutely.
optimize your operations and what you do. So we need to be clear that the consumer will always be king and we need to know why they're doing. It's not the what. There's the how and then there's the why. And AI may not be able to tell you that, at least in this year and where we are currently. So nothing
Fantastic.
replaces that.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. So I'm quickly going to go to Damilola. I think you deserve a round of applause. Yeah. So I want to put a question to you, and I think probably you'll find it a bit funny in the sense that product innovation. So I mean, we are today in Nigeria, people come up with all sorts, right? But for you that you are working with an organization that is globally oriented, right? How would you apply AI in bringing about new products into the market, knowing fully well that if it doesn't fly within your own management, it will not get out there. So as somebody that is a brand owner, especially in food, so there's share of truth that is going on. As in the business of share of truth now, I don't envy you guys, right? Because it's a lot. Everybody wants to speak to the same truth, right? So how do you apply AI to product innovation?
Okay. So I'll just some context. If I remember when AI first became a thing and Chat GPT came, and I used to say, "Oh, I look forward to dying." And the reason why I made that joke was because this is going to take over our lives. Like wow, like the praise that was experienced with AI, and I have used AI a lot, and I find it to be a great time waster. And I'll explain that. Yes, I'll explain that. The time you spend sometimes trying to figure out the correct prompt for AI to give you something, 6 hours you're there trying to, but can you put this, but can you put that, but can you put that? So I think that as with anything, it's a tool. that is supposed to help you improve the quality of what you're doing. And AI is great at contextualizing the past. It's not great at knowing the future. Things that happen in this room become data backed somewhere that AI can only take something from. And if I recorded this session for AI's insights out of this will be very different from what you take out of the experience. So the way I treat AI, I treat it like a functional tool that I treat it more as a math model to understand things as opposed to trying to understand human behavior. Because of also it's all of its psychophancy. So I understand it's true, but I also respect what my brain is capable of and what the history of a brand and what the true experience of a user is. So how would I enable AI to help me? I'll use the AI as a data dump to simplify the data that I understand, but I know the metrics that I am looking for. And when she said it, it's true. AI is not here to replace you. Your brain is more valuable today than it was 2 years ago because this is what is happening. Everybody's banking on AI to be the future. You are still the future because eventually it's what you put into AI that is the quality of the result that you get. Five of us are going to use the same model and get different things. So AI, in my view, in terms of innovation, gets to be the data dump. The people still produce the results because I'm serving an innovation to consumers. So I'm not going to ask AI how Kano responds to seasoning cubes. And you mentioned when Debola said 10 cubes, it was a conversation him and I had. And I remember the data from Nielsen did say consumption was that way. And I was like, here we go again. And then we went into homes in the north, and the numbers only got progressively higher. 20 seasoning cubes in a pot of stew for 4 people in the southwest is a scandal. So think about the fact that I say I want to do a portfolio, I want to do an innovation, and I want to put 10 cubes in the pack because I think people in the north don't have money. Because I asked for the social demographics of Nigeria, and what is the AI going to tell me? The north is the poorest part of the country. Now, how does the north prioritize its spending? Only a northerner can tell you because they still don't think about that as super expensive. But if I launch that pack in the north, it will fail because per pot is not enough. But if I launch it in Lagos, you, the baby boys, and the slay queens of the country, it would succeed. So AI cannot solve that for me. AI is my data dump for innovation, but in terms of the real insights for solving a problem that makes your innovation successful, we still go back to the consumer. That's my honest truth. What you can do is use AI to define your models for what data you're seeking, but the analysis is still your responsibility. You will not be replaced.
Thank you. Wow, 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 wow. You're just dropping gems. You're dropping gems. You know, I'm in my head, I'm imagining the taste of that soup. God, 20 cubes, man. But you said something I don't think David will agree. He said AI is time waster. Do you agree?
So sorry.
Give him the mic.
Give him the mic.
Okay.
Two things you said about the seasoning cube. Let me give me a simple one. When you buy suya, they give you the spice to crumble on it.
Right.
That's a nothing behavior. But in that
Right.
thing, I promise you, half of it is seasoning cube. So you eat with a nothing. I remember also going to, and I'm so sorry. You crumble in it. That's not things we do, but you imagine how it will taste.
Right.
AI is a time waster if you do not know how to use it. Actually, I'll let you respond. Time waster.
All right, cool. Please. What do you think?
So
Do you actually share the same sentiment?
I think
And it's okay
I
to
think
disagree.
It's relative,
Okay.
to be honest. I think if you know what you're doing, it wouldn't waste your time. That's the truth, right? But if you don't know what you're doing, just as you said, you just want it to do everything for you. To be honest, it's just going to waste your time, especially if you have industry experience in what you're asking it to do. So, for example, I remember when I started using AI newly, ChatGPT,
Yeah.
before Claude, I would have something I want to work on, and I'll tell it, I'll like describe the whole thing. I'll be like, okay, do this, do this. It would write the code, but the code is just nonsense. Like, I asked you to do this, but you're doing it, but not the way I told you. So I end up explaining and explaining. And at some point, I'm just like, I told you to do this. I think I remember one time I gave it a bug. That was a bug I was having in my code. I was like, help me fix this. The guy fixed. I was like, it's not working. I gave it back again. I said, fix this. He wrote it again. I told it, I've done this. Do it again. He did it again. And I think around the fourth iteration, it went back to the same thing I told it in the second iteration that I've done.
Right.
I just said, Mumu, I better get out.
Right. Right.
So I think if you know what you're doing, right, it wouldn't waste your time. But if you don't have any knowledge about it, yeah, it would waste your time. And I think it's a little bit risky
Okay.
because If you don't even know what you're doing, I think you might just collect rubbish from it and use it. And
Okay, I mean, you want to do something? Okay, please support that.
Okay. And I don't want the audience to go out of this session thinking that AI has no value, because it can be misconstrued what both of them are just said. The fundamental thing remains that it's garbage in, garbage out. If you don't have it, if you don't have the right even lingua to tell the AI,
True.
it's different from you talking English. But if you're in marketing and you want to understand consumer, you're beginning to deep dive into start talking about the nuances of that environment. And I can tell you for sure, I am in education. I remember doing a training at Harvard sometimes, and the simulation that we were given, and anybody who have done Harvard probably will have done Everest. That simulation was a real life situation that was built into different layers. That simulation, then, if you would do that simulation, you probably will have probably 200,000 US dollars to build such simulation. Today, within 2-3 iteration, I can build that simulation for you. So, and there's no way in this world that I will have been able to do, and I'm not a coding, I'm not an expert, but I know the right question to ask AI. I know the right thing to tell the AI to do. That comes from what you have here. And I still return back to it. The more you feed your brain, the more you feed your experiences, the more you feed your intellectual being, the more value you can get from AI. And I can bet it. You, I, you guys are blessed. If AI were to be when I was brand manager, I would become a monster.
Right.
I'm not joking. So take advantage of the tools and the richness of what you have today. Sometimes, Fiyin, you are not young, you are old. Don't deceive yourself. In those days, you get Nielsen report, you get MRS report, you get Omana, and you sit down 5 days, you are still looking at Nielsen alone.
Right.
Cross-referencing, triangulating all manner of data. Today, if I have all of those things, in 3 days, I'm ready to present to the board. So, first is try and understand the subject. Go deep. Don't just stay on the surface. Go deep and understand the depth and breadth of it. Then I will tell you for sure, AI will give you so much time on your hand that you can use it to start making money from something else.
Fantastic question. I mean, response, please. A round of applause for him. And please, if you have questions, I don't think we will have more than 3 questions. So please write your question down already so we can actually take them as we. And for me, the Ojo I usually do when I come to this kind of event, some things in my head, I just, these are consultants already. You just give them those questions and they will answer to you for free. No exchange of, right? So, right, let me go to Mata now, right? So Mata, I know that you've done this for a while, right? And we've all agreed that AI is whatever is in your brain, is whatever that will come out of it eventually, because really is what you put in there that will eventually come out from the AI prompt that you're doing. I wanted to check in with you that looking ahead now, what do you think will define the brands that successfully understand and serve African consumers over the next decade? Remember, she said that AI doesn't predict the future, but I just want to hear your own thoughts on that.
Okay. So I'll sum it up as adaptive learning, and I'll try and do a blend of the different opinions here. AI should be, so these matters should be human-led, but AI-powered.
Right.
Now, how do I mean? Number one, you have to set up and listen and understand how the consumer thinks. So you need AI listening tools to help you listen at scale, understand how your consumers behave. That then feeds into what you were mentioning. Training is very important. A lot of the time as brand owners, we don't spend enough time developing our consumer personas. actually writing it down, feeding it, letting AI understand everything about my consumer. Also, the contextual cues. What you know about the consumer, feed it into AI. Let AI also understand it. Let AI understand all the pieces of information that you are working with, all those reports you have. Keep training your AI system so that when you are speaking, it begins to think and factor in. Tell it to save it and use it to reference when you are querying it on certain things. It then is more empowered to provide better solutions for you when you are speaking to it. Now, this then ties into how are brands going to, go into the next decade, for instance, and be successful. Guys, let's tell the truth. A lot of us know how to, we're now learning how to manage Gen Z. We've come over that hill. But if you look at Gen Alpha, in 10 years' time, your Gen Alpha born in 2013 will be 23. These guys, they are from a different planet. They code switch. They have their own slangs. They will post a color pink. Another Gen Alpha understands what that pink is. A whole discussion. Pink, just a word, a color, is a discussion, it's a conversation already. They have their own memes. These are the brain rot generation. They understand AI slop. They are the iPad babies. If you don't understand these people, you don't have a business in the next 10 years, which is why you have to listen. You have to start understanding them. I talked about adaptive learning, having all those things, putting them. So as you are learning, make sure your AI is also learning with you. So when you say machine learning, this is reality now, such that you have a bank of information that helps you to pressure test. Now, I spoke about training. Let's then go back to the next thing, which is testing. After all your training and all your outputs, test with human beings.
Right.
Test your campaigns. Hear from them, and then you know whether what you have really works and connects. Thank you.
All right, a round of applause for her, please. Quickly to Tope, and we're wrapping up now. Tope, you actually going to give us maybe your final thought now in terms of how to deliver this particular topic, local design, how to understand African consumer from a place of insight. For me, I know that Indomie has remained deeply embedded within everyday consumer culture for years, which you also corroborated this afternoon. From your own perspective, what does it take for brands to move beyond visibility, marketing campaigns, all the tools that you've mentioned earlier on? And actually, how are you driving that lifestyle that you think that will, like you said, reverence? It will become something that people just think that when it comes to Indomie, no noodles come to the side at all, right? So how are you driving that lifestyle for the brand?
Okay. Thank you so much for the question again. So I would say 10 years ago, the conversations around AI were not there. And even now, when we speak of AI, people still have some feedbacks in terms of how it is being more performative here. But what has lasted the test of time is human intelligence. Just have human intelligence. And as much as we want to say that we want to use some of these tools, it's also good to always do consumer immersions. When you have a brand, when you have a business that you run, go to the field, speak with consumers, understand their pain points, understand their motivations, understand their life. Because you can create a product for a particular purpose, and consumers are using it for a different reason, or consumers are being motivated to use it for a different reason. So you need to understand all of these pain points from consumers. And the best way to do this is to do immersions, do a lot of immersions, sit with consumers, sit with people that do not even like your product, people that do not consume your product, get a lot of information. The onus is now on you as marketeers, as business owners, to use your own human intelligence. That's it.
Thank you so much. And in 1 minute submission, so Dr. Abiodun, what will be your last statement?
Thank you. And thanks all for listening. So I will wrap it up with a model that is coming in my book, and I'm not advertising it. Just so you understand.
We copy it already.
It's even not going to be in the bookshop, so don't think I'm hungry.
Private
Exactly.
selling.
Exactly. The model is conceptualized based on my experience, having worked on several brands across several industries.
Thank you.
It's treating the entire marketing and brand building.
We'll take pictures with
from
you
a simple
here.
model
And then
like
Joshua,
what
can I have
TSP and
Joshua
T represent tribe.
the founder of Brand
tribe
Communicator. We'll take
implying
pictures with
that
you and then we'll take
you
with the
don't
other
treat
team.
consumers
Or, yes, can we just do
using
that? And then we'll have
demographic
Joshua at the
alone.
other
You
side,
begin
please.
to look at them as a tribe. And when a tribe comes, there is always something that brings tribe together. So it's a culture base. So it's a motivation. The second thing on that is R. Sorry, is S. S in that context speaks about story. And story is
I hope you all
about
are wonderful.
understanding these consumers, understanding their motivations, and use that to actually build a story that resonates with them. And the P there speaks about platforms. So when you build a tribe of set of people and you create a story for them that resonate with their motivation, and then you create a platform. Now, this is where Tope was talking about. No matter what AI gives you, you will still have to bring it to experiential. That one can't go forever and ever. So that is the platform. How do you create a platform where people come, that those tribe comes to share the story?
We need to wrap up.
And at the end of the day, you do it in a continuum way so that it become a ritual.
All right. Thank you so much. Moving on. So yeah, just last submission.
So very quickly,
1 minute.
AI helps us to ramp up skill and speed. Let's make sure we use it effectively to ensure that, your consumers, they live online, but they shop offline. Make sure when they go to that corner shop, you have done the work that ensures that they are calling and asking for your own branding. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. David.
Yeah, I think what I would leave everyone with, I think everyone is talking about adopting AI and using AI. I think the way you use it matters. I think it was Microsoft that came up with the word collaborative intelligence, right? There's a lot of brain rot going on right now because people are depending so much on AI.
Right.
So I would say be collaborative with the system, right? Learn from it, let it learn from you. Because the truth is, if you look at a lot of movies, a lot of AI apocalyptic movies, you would realize, I think Dune, for example, you'd realize that there was a time that they were against intelligent machines, right? And they had to rely back on humans to make these decisions. So ask yourself, what happens if AI goes rogue tomorrow and you can't do your work?
Right.
So yeah, collaborate with AI and learn from it as much as it
What's
learns.
he learning here? All right, please. Last segment.
My last words. I think is what he said, and my thing with AI, and this is from extensive use of AI, by the way. I use AI so extensively that I'm almost in a cynical relationship with it. And I'll give an example. I had a dispute with I was charged for a subscription that I had canceled, and the company was making it difficult for me to get my refund, about 28 pounds. And I told Claude to go into my email and run through every conversation that I had had with that company where I had refused, complete with timestamps and everything. And even though the company had refused and said I didn't make a claim, it was able to pull together every evidence in my mail. I just gave the instruction to say, use this in my mail, pull together everything, and then I was able to make a coherent case to Monzo, and my money was refunded in 2 hours.
Wow.
And I'd been fighting that fight with Monzo for almost since the 31st of March.
Wow.
That's brilliant use of AI, right? But when I say AI will not replace you, I want you to remember that your brain intuition. And I'll give an example of what I'm saying. Google search. We are now very used to typos and thinking Google will figure it out. What has happened is when you start to write, you type less. You are terrible at writing now. So do not forget what the tool is. It's just a tool, and do not let it outsmart you. That's where I'm at. Thank you.
It's just a tool. Don't let it outsmart you. Last statement, please.
Thank you. I think they've covered it all. So let me just take a different angle, which is that, we only have 24 hours every day, right? And a lot of that is work. So you can actually use AI in your personal life to free time up for you to do the things that you really want to do. And I'll give an example to people that are here that are moms. You remember how we used to build meal plans, food timetables? Now I just talk to AI, tell it, this is what my daughter is going to eat. I don't even type and build the calendar for me. I print it, I give it to them in school, I put it in my house as well. So there are so many different things that you can do to free up time for you to focus on your career and other things that you love. So forget about just using AI at work. It's also there to help you optimize your efficiencies at home. I use AI for a lot of things in my home. So I think that as students as well, you should be able to extend that same grace to AI to help you get more efficient. Thank you.
All right, fantastic submission. Thank you so much, our panelists. The summary for me is that keep listening. Stop doing a lot of telling. Keep listening. Pick your battles. You know when to use AI and when not to use it, and just make sure that your brain is also still working. All right. Thank you so much for listening to us, and I enjoy the rest of your conference. Yeah.